Hey guys, it's Steven. Got a BICE chart update for you here. We left off on the 6th, which was last Monday, and the price was around $2.50. And since then, we had a somewhat sideways move for a bit, and you could see we moved from the central pivot to the resistance one and then back down. And since then, we had a huge sell-off in the overall crypto market. So, I was predicting a sell-off for the BITES token. The previous week, we had the announcement of the new website and the BITES whitelist marketplace, and that really created this spike here. And although that's great, I think that the BITES token is going to need more to be able to sustain itself. And I think the solution could be the BITES 2.0 that's going to be coming out in the next couple weeks here. That could be the catalyst we need to move the prices higher, because what you have to do is you have to hold a certain amount of bytes to earn yield, and the more bytes you earn, you hold and stake, the more bytes you can earn. So I do have a feeling that there has been a significant amount of people just selling their bytes. And if they're going to want to keep generating yield, they're going to have to buy them back. So that could be a catalyst coming up here soon. But overall, just looking into next week here. So pretty similar to the previous week. Now, my chart lost the last 2 weeks for some reason. It just disappeared. So this is basically where the previous week's pivot points were. But for this week, we've got a support, which we've already tested at $1.57. And we've got the central pivot at 231, and we have some resistance here at 285. So although I was correct in assuming that we were going to come down and test this $2 range, I was not really factoring in the fact that Ethereum was going to basically crash on us here. So when you're looking at the bytes to Ethereum chart, you can see that much more stable. We're basically, if you look at where we left off, we're essentially flat over the last week here versus Ethereum. So it's been holding up pretty well. Pretty decent amount of volume and volatility throughout all this. All this selling in the overall crypto market. And for me, this has worked out perfectly because I have these two liquidity ranges between 13 and 14 and 15 and 16, and they have been able to accumulate a pretty good amount of fees. So just checking in on that, previously the week before, my total return on investment was 17. Now it's at 24. So that's a pretty good 7% increase there. And then for this one, we had a 44% return on investment. Now it's all the way up to 76. So a pretty significant amount of volume is happening in here. And, kind of going over my strategy that I talked about last week, I wanted to kind of, I wanted to invest more. I wanted to buy this dip. I had some money that I could have used. And, but I also wanted to experiment with keeping the price within my liquidity range myself. So basically the strategy was, once I'm in my range here, what I would do is if like assume we moved above like my range here, what I could do is I could come in and sell until the price gets into the middle of my range. And then once that happens, I can just kind of let it all play out. And then, once it comes back down into like my lower range here, and maybe it gets to this lower end, I could come in here and buy these tokens and move the price back into the middle of my range. So that way I'm kind of controlling where the price is, and I'm allowing it to be within my range here. So that's basically what I did. I did it maybe a couple times. I did some trades where, for instance, if I wanted to use this strategy again, what I would do is I would buy maybe 300 bytes. I would move the price from this to the middle. And then the same would be true as, maybe we moved down here and I was feeling bearish. What I could do is I could sell the bytes that I have and move it kind of into the middle of the range here, so that if people did want to come in and trade, I'd have a better chance of it staying within my range. And then if it moved below, I just come in and market buy. So overall, I would say it's done pretty good because the return on investment has definitely gone up. So I'm just gonna stick with that now, and I still do have some capital that I am ready to invest back in the token here. So overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we do move lower and get back down into this lower range. I'm hoping it does. And I'm also having to plan in for the fact that Bytes 2.0 could be released at any time, and all of my liquidity position could essentially go from Bytes to Ethereum, and I could get left in the dust again, kind of like what happened here, and I might have to kind of chase again. So trying to accumulate a certain amount of bytes and not give them all away, but then also, try to keep it within my range here. So that's about it. And then for the bytes holders, I didn't write it down, but I think we're down about 10 from the previous week. So the holders are going down. Moving on to the blood token, not much going on with this. Again, I am watching this 18 level. I think that might be a good price, but there's just not much action and not really any reason to speculate on blood token right now. Quickly, the market cap is at 3.6 million. So relatively cheap for what the game might turn out to be. And then I did wanted to touch up on the fact that Bytes is under $1 million market cap now, and that is something I was expecting. And for me, the value buy is around 800,000 market cap. So I will be looking for that as a possibility. And then from there, I feel like that's a very good trade. If you can buy something at an 800,000 or less market cap, the odds of it getting back to $1 million are pretty high. So you're giving yourself a 25% chance upside, right? So that's kind of why I like that number. So gonna watch this here, see if we can maybe get some buying opportunities. So yeah, overall market is just a complete shit show. So, we had this huge breakout in the yields, kind of front running the Fed, possibly with their rate hikes, maybe 50 to 75 basis points. So not good. And market obviously is freaking out over it. If you've been watching, the previous week, I was pretty lucky to be able to trade this pivot and make some nice trades. It was pretty simple. When I'm looking for patterns, it's really not that difficult. The patterns that I'm looking for are, you find a low, it breaks up, and then it comes back down and kind of tests this low and then makes a higher low. And then from here, what you can do is, once you have these kind of moves, you can just take a long and then have your stop be just below it, and then just take those trades. So, I was able to do that and make these trades. And then what we ended up happening last week is, last Friday, we just had a complete just dud and meltdown in the stock market. And we had this chance here with Bitcoin to really just exit. And you saw this kind of lull here as the overall stock market just kind of faded. So it was a pretty easy sign to kind of be like, okay, take in profits. Once you have a trade like this, you could always just put in a stop loss and trigger profits, so that no matter what happens, you can't lose. So that's just my whole strategy, is just to always protect yourself as much as you can, and obviously try to keep the money that you have. So once we broke below this 29.7, and then we had this weakness in the overall markets, it was kind of obvious that there was no reason to buy this here, because we're going into the weekend. We had this weak Friday, and that's kind of why I said this, once we're below 29.7, we could crash any time now. And that's basically what happened. We had this move here. There was no opportunity to trade. It's like, just, you needed to go risk off. So, and then we had, just a total Ethereum, the Bitcoin to Ethereum just kind of crash here. So Personally, I did short this, but I didn't really take it full advantage of this, and I really didn't protect my entire portfolio like I could have. So always could do better. Maybe I could have had more cash, or maybe just be in a bigger hedge. But looking forward here, um, looking at what happened last time when we had this kind of huge breakdown from the Luna crash, there's a lot of similarities from the Luna crash to here, where we're moving way below the pivot here. And now maybe we're having this capitulation where we're going to move right back and kind of had this magnet, maybe bring in some more capital that could get flushed out again. That's what we might be seeing here. So I do expect to at least come back and test this pivot point here. So we'll see how that plays out. So let's just check in on the bond market. So this was really what caused the problem here, where we just had this huge sell-off in bonds. So personally, I did start to buy. I did start to go long here on TLT. I want to scale in. I feel like this is a bit overdone here, and if um, the market makers want to come in here and stabilize the stock market, they're going to have to come in here and buy bonds. So I'm looking at 109.20 is a pivot point, and we didn't reach it, but I wanted to get in today, and maybe I'll have another chance to buy a little bit more. And I'm also looking at gold and silver. So I think there's an opportunity there. So I am making some trades on gold and silver, looking at 1775 area as the pivot. So if we can, I'm just kind of starting to scale into some silver and gold positions here, because I feel like if you look at the long term, it's been a very good store of value. And I think commodities are going to continue to do well in this inflationary environment. So watching gold and silver, and kind of looking at these setups where you have these lows here, and then not too much of a downside really, right? So we will keep an eye on that. Let's see, S&P 500. Yeah, so I did want to point out, although we're in a bear market right now, and it's pretty clear this is a bear market. What is a bear market? Well, they say anything below 20% is a bear market. So, looking at the chart here, if we were to go 20% down, that would put us at about 284 here. So, we're not that far away from getting right back into a bull market. So although this is looking pretty bad right now and you have to be cautious, if we can somehow get back into this 284 level, I mean, we're back at it again. And then, we're setting up for into the midterms. They're going to want to keep the stock market somewhat decently high going into elections. That's just a normal thing. So who knows what will happen, but I'm just going to keep an eye on it, and just got to be careful. So guess we can finish up on Ethereum here. So I went ahead and just kind of charted out this month's pivot chart, just using the highs and the lows and the close. And we got this one pivot support at 960. So I'm not saying we'll get there. The way that I look at it, and I'm sure a lot of hedge funds and you have all these products, they use these round numbers for their contract. So this $1,000 level is obviously going to be very important to hold, right? So if it goes below 1,000, you're going to see people wanting to kind of cover their positions and hedge their positions. So there could be some sort of capitulation candle to get us down to this just under 1,000, and that would be a good opportunity. So going to be watching that, and yeah, that's basically it. I guess just to kind of zoom in here too, and kind of see if there's any patterns playing out. This is the type of pattern I like right here. If you zoom in, where we've clearly found a somewhat of a low here. We had a nice little spike from 2100 to 26, and then we come back down and test that. And taking this long in this position from 2100 to like 21.8, then you could have a stop loss just below. that's the type of trade that I like. And you have these other trades like, why didn't this work out here? Well, you maybe could have tried it, but you would have got stopped right out. So it's kind of a little bit of everything where you have to kind of feel it. But just wanted to point that out, that this is kind of a nice little formation here, and definitely interested to see how this all plays out tomorrow. Um, if you haven't heard before the saying turnaround Tuesday, if we are in a bull market, we should have a bullish day tomorrow. And if we have a flat to negative day, I would say that the entire market is in trouble. So, yep, that's all I got. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll catch you later.